this appears to be my problem. This is supposed to be a diesel ignition relay solenoid, and instead it seems to just be a relay solenoid. It will do the same thing, but not quite the same way. Using this multimeter and some good old YouTube vids, I figured out how to test that. Now I'm looking and checking and making sure that I didn't miss anything else, like I don't have a loose ground, or there's something else that maybe is unhooked. I'm just double checking, but when I tested this relay solenoid, it did not appear to be working correctly. So here I am about to pull some parts out of a friend's vehicle that they just want to get rid of anyways. And I see a couple of other things I should grab and I could probably use. So by looking at it, this is the voltage relay, and this, two similar things are the starter solenoid, or maybe that's the injector. Up, there's just a lot more stuff on this motor or on this engine compartment that I could use than I thought I could, like that little circuit breaker box. I could definitely use that, so I'm going to take that. I need a washer fluid container, so I'm going to take this. She says she doesn't care, like she's over it, and my advice to her is to get rid of it, sell it to somebody that wants to try and rebuild it anyways. So I'm definitely going to take that, and I'm going to take that, and I'm going to take starter solenoid and the power relay. Like 99% sure that's what that is, but I'll check the ohmage. It'll tell me after I pull it out. Boy, I sure hope this works, because the first thing I noticed when I went to install it is that it fit right in the OEM holes. Now, it also, all of the wires fit beautifully on it. This is definitely the ground, because the circuit is completed from there to there, and after the videos I watched, if I don't have that grounded, then they'll try to ground someplace else and it could fry something else. But that looks good. All right, I'm just gonna carry you with me, because I've had nothing but bad luck. I don't have high hopes for anything actually working for me. So nothing's that's loose, arcs or anything. None of that should have any power with anything, but this stuff is still not all hooked in the way it should be at the moment, just because of issues and testing and all such nonsense. Nothing. that wasn't the problem. At this point, my understanding of 12-volt electrical inside of vehicles is not very good. So I immediately go to try and figure out what every single electrical line in the vehicle does. I spend the next week tracing every single line I absolutely can from the point of its origin to whatever device it's working on and labeling everything I possibly can. That would not have been the quick way to do this. I now understand. The quick way to do this would have been to take my voltage tester and test the voltage at the ignition and at the relay coil and try to find out where there is a disconnect and what product is not getting power from what point. That would have been the quick way to solve the one major problem that I was having, or at least the one major problem that I thought I was having. Because I generally traced all of the lines, I found a ton of problems in the wiring, and I spent the next week fixing all of them. Understanding of why the vehicle wasn't starting. I've done a bunch of work I didn't need to do. I've messed with a whole bunch of stuff. I got some other parts I did need. And now that I have an understanding of it, everything needs to be put back together, and that drag bar needs to come off. But I took the drag bar off yesterday, or rephrase that. I tried to use the puller from the auto parts store to take the ball joint head off of the drag bar alignment onto the back wheel so I could have some more play, and it didn't fix anything at all. It's off now, but I had to smack the crap out of it because I couldn't even figure out how to use the damn puller properly. I was just getting super greasy and super upset, and it wasn't doing anything I wanted it to. So I ended up smacking it with a hammer till it came out, which ended up being quite a huge mistake because I can't find the drag bar ends anywhere. I needed to not damage these if at all possible, even though the boots were ruined. But this part right here still won't come off, no matter how we turn the wheel, or no, there's just not enough room. So now I'm going to be messing with that up there. Oh, I'm going to be taking this thing off and loosening it up and wiggling it off and watching it drop down after that. Hoping there's enough room to make that actually happen, because nothing else has gone easy. It's that, or the only other option is to take this plate off that's in the way, which that doesn't really seem like a good idea. It attaches to that bottom thing that goes over there, and it sort of looks like part of the things that's holding the engine in and everything, along with all these hoses and stuff I don't want to disconnect. So, yeah, piece of cake, no problem. You know, I've never done this before. No big deal. First got this bus, it took me forever to find out where the electrical panel release button was, which is down here. And it really took me a long time because we had taken the old seats out and put other stuff in the way of that. And it was really stuck and had to be bent into position just right, and lots of wires not being used at the moment. I have a lot of fixing that needs to be done besides that drag bar, a whole bunch. Tons of wires are gone, lots of stuff is labeled. Everything that's hooked up makes the vehicle run right now. I haven't found stuff that may not need to be hooked up, except for where there were dead wires. So gotta tighten all this up.
All right. This is the only way I can think to do this, because taking that plate off makes no sense at all. This has to be the way it's done. I'm supremely unexcited about taking this arm off. Supremely.
It will not come off like this no matter what I do. I'm gonna have to cut it. I can't think of a better way for me to do it and actually have this mission get accomplished. I'm gonna have to cut that steel plate. It sucks, but...
It was at this moment he knew he fucked up.
Marble tag in. So both my easy tripods that were working really good broke, and so I know I'm not having something to easily hold a camera right now, and I have so much video to edit. It's time I get on actually processing videos now I know what's going to be going on in my life. Getting the drag bar tie-ins rods off is a giant pain in the ass. Took sledgehammer and days worth of that PB blaster, but as you can see, this tie rod end is coming off, and I'm just leaving that on there so I can make sure I put the proper direction on it. But this is almost done. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Anybody says PB blaster doesn't work just didn't give it enough time, because I had already ruined this tie rod getting it out of the wheel area. But this thing was not going to come out if I didn't figure out either leverage or solution, and that PB blaster definitely was a solution. Now the only problem is, no matter what I've done, this will not come out of here. No matter how far I turn this or turn that, this plate has to come out. But this plate is supporting that bar, which ties into the bottom of the engine. And there's all of these bolts and all these linkages, and I'm not going to do that. I can't. It's gonna fuck something else up. So what I am gonna do is I'm gonna cut a notch out of this plate. Because although it does retain some of that stuff, really the main frame is inside of this plate. It's not this plate. This plate is an addition to hold on to hoses and stuff like that. So I'm just going to cut a notch here and a notch there and back there, so I can slide this out, and then I can put another one in there. That's the plan.